Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. Welcome to the Adjutant General's Corps' Chief Warrant Officer Change of Responsibility Ceremony. Today, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Jacque Nixon, will relinquish responsibility as the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps to Chief Warrant Officer 5, Mark Hickman. Presiding over today's ceremony is Colonel Michael T. McTighe, Commandant, Adjutant General School, the Chief of the Adjutant General's Corps, and the Chief of Army Bands. We would like to extend a virtual welcome to the family and friends of both Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon and Chief Warrant Officer 5 Hickman, other Adjutant General officers, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, soldiers, civilian employees of the Adjutant General School, and the Soldier Support Institute. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation given by Chaplain Mitchell.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we ask your blessing upon all who are gathered here today and pray that you be with us as this change of responsibility ceremony. We appreciate the technical competence and leadership brought to the Army by our Warrant Officer Corps. And we thank you for the legacy of CW5 Jacque Nixon, which has been a legacy of genuine professionalism throughout his career. Lord, we ask that you would support CW5 Mark Hickman as he assumes his role as the next Chief Warrant Officer of the AG Corps. May Chief Hickman feel a sense of confidence and assurance that when he turns to you in those lonely moments of decision, Lord, guide and direct him always so that justice and truth may always be served. Guide and direct him always so that justice and truth may all be served, Lord, as we defend and serve. In your name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Seated on the stage in today's official party, Colonel Michael T. McTighe, Commandant, Adjutant General School, the Chief of the Adjutant General's Corps, and the Chief of Army Bands, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Jacque Nixon, the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps, and Chief Warrant Officer 5 Mark Hickman, the 8th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps. Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon assumed duties as the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps in May 2018. Prior to his current assignment, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon spent his career serving with distinction in a variety of tactical, operations, strategic, and staff assignments. Most recently, as the Warrant Officer Integrator, Director of Military Personnel Management, Army G1. Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon is currently on assignment to the immediate office of the Secretary of the Army. Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon's spouse, Elzora, and 4 adult children, Jacque Jr., Ian, Emily, and Jonathan, are not in attendance today, but are here in spirit. Chief Warrant Officer 5 Hickman will assume duties as the 8th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps. Chief Warrant Officer 5 Hickman has served in a variety of assignments, including his most recent assignment as America's first Corps Senior Adjutant General Warrant Officer, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. The Adjutant General School was officially established on 14 June 1941 at Arlington Cantonment, Virginia, for the Adjutant General's Department. At that time, the total training capacity was approximately 200 students, most of whom were officers. Over the next 10 years, the school increased in both size and student load, and they had to relocate several times, eventually moving to Fort Lee in 1947, where it was co-located with the Quartermaster School. In March 1951, the Adjutant General School moved from Fort Lee, Virginia to Fort Benjamin Harris, Indiana, to meet an increasing student load caused by the Korean War. In 1995, the Adjutant General School closed its doors at Fort Benjamin Harris and became a major partner in newly established U.S. Army Soldier Support Institute at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Today, the Adjutant General School trains and educates over 9,000 human resources professionals each year, who have the mission of supporting commanders, serving soldiers, and their families. Today's Change of Responsibility ceremony recognizes the 7th change in leadership of the Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps. The Change of Responsibility ceremony is simple, full of tradition, and is also rich with symbolism and heritage. As the Senior Warrant Officer Advisor to the Commandant, the Chief Warrant Officer of the Corps is responsible for advising on all human resource systems, technical human resource matters, and total Army human resources and Bandmaster Warrant Officer issues. Today, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Nixon will pass the saber to Chief Warrant Officer 5 Hickman, symbolizing the relinquishings of his duties and responsibilities. Please direct your attention to the stage as Chief Warrant Officer 3, Alexander Pickney, the 2019 Adjutant General Warrant Officer of the Year, brings forth the Regimental Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General Corps saber.
Forward, march, center, face.
In light of the current coronavirus environment, to maintain tactical dispersion, the traditional passing of the saber will be recognized in the absence of the physical transfer. The tradition of presenting swords or sabers to officers dates back to the origin of the sword itself. In warrior cultures, every soldier was expected to possess a sword and shield. In ancient Sparta, a mother presented her son his sword and shield, telling him to return from battle with it or come back carried on it. With the advent of the horse cavalry, mounted warriors carried swords, while infantry carried spears or pikes. The mounted warriors eventually led to the modern officer corps. The traditional passing of the saber today signifies the change of responsibility between two superb leaders and appropriately represents the Adjutant General's Corps' motto of defend and serve. Let it be known that the Commandant of the Adjutant General School and Chief of the Corps hereby declares that having served faithfully and with distinction, Chief Warrant Officer 5 Jacque Nixon relinquishes his duties and responsibilities as the Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General Corps. Let it be known from this day, 1 May 2020, that the Commandant, Adjutant General School, and Chief of the Corps has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, dedication, integrity, and leadership abilities of Chief Warrant Officer 5 Mark Hickman. He is thereby appointed to serve as the 8th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps.
Center, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Michael T. McTighe, the Commandant of the Adjutant General School and Chief of the Corps.
to welcome some distinguished guests, soldiers, civilians, family members, and friends of the Adjutant General School. Thank you all so much for honoring us with your virtual presence to witness the Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General Corps change of responsibility between Chief Nixon and Chief Hickman. I know that all of you watching this today understand the special significance of this ceremony. Conducting this change of responsibility not only recognizes the stature of the warrant officer and their vital contributions to the mission, but it also recognizes the formal transition of responsibilities inherent in the Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General Corps role. The warrant officer is a highly specialized expert in their career field. They make up the technical foundation of the Army. Although they make up less than 3% of the total Army strength, their impact is much, much larger. I think back to my days in Personnel Detachment Command with Chief Adiote and working with Chief Vega. They showed me what it meant to be an exceptional warrant officer, a technical expert in processes, systems, and governing regulations. I learned early on that without our Warrant Officer Corps, our Army would truly not be the greatest in the world. There is perhaps no place in our Army where the technical expertise of our warrant officers figures more prominently than in the business of training AG soldiers. For the last few years, the NCOs, officers, and civilians in the Adjutant General School have been blessed with a great role model, leader, and expert in Chief Jacque Nixon. Over his tenure, Chief Nixon has driven necessary change for the Corps. His passion, love for this profession, competence, and dedication are something that we have all benefited from. He has not only driven the school to embrace the changes required to win in large-scale combat operations, he has driven the institutional preparation for IPSA implementation. He was engaged from improving warrant officer accessions to combat attrition, spearheading the development of the warrant officer intermediate level follow-on course to drive technical expertise in our Corps, and efforts to build depth and facilitate the Army's transition to IPSA. Across all of this school's efforts, and really this Corps' efforts, he has moved us forward. We are graduating soldiers who are better trained and ready because of his efforts. He has tremendous credibility with our senior leaders and experience at every echelon. He drove outreach efforts to the warrant officer cohort to expand awareness across the community and has authored a professional development template to provide a roadmap for the Corps that will pay dividend for years to come. He has excelled. I appreciated his trust, counsel, and never-ending passion for the Corps and for our business. We owe him a debt of gratitude because he has made a difference and he has left a legacy. Chief, thanks for your unwavering support to this school and this Corps. I'd be remiss if I did not publicly recognize your spouse, Elzora, and your 4 children for their support and sacrifice over his tenure. We know you could not have done it without them, and our thoughts and thanks are with them today. As we bid farewell to Chief Nixon, I want to wish him well as he heads off to the immediate office of the Secretary of the Army. He's the right officer to represent our Corps at that level during this critical time, and I know he's up to the challenge. Now, we know our mission's continuous. The great thing about our Army is that whenever one great leader steps aside, another one steps up. We have no shortage of talent, and that is the strength of our Army. So we welcome Chief Mark Hickman to the AG School family. Chief Hickman's another talented warrant officer who has led his units to success wherever he has been. He's competent, professional, dedicated, and ready to raise this Corps to new heights. Chief, you come highly recommended. Remember, I went to the career course with your last boss? Your previous experience within this school will also help aid your transition and get you started quickly. I'm confident you're prepared for this role, and I'm looking forward to continuing to move the Corps forward together in the coming months. Welcome to the team. To the officers, soldiers, and civilians of the AG School, Your contributions are invaluable to training our soldiers and guiding the future of our Corps. I know you will continue to provide Chief Hickman the same dedicated support you provided Chief Nixon. I am excited about the future of the Adjutant General Corps. I have the highest confidence that this team has the competence, dedication, and ability for this organization to become even more successful as we tackle all of the challenges we face. We owe it to the Corps because winning matters. Defend and serve. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Jacque Nixon.
Wow. So, let me just get my composure for a second. To Colonel Aiden, Sergeant Major, boss, my Sergeant Major, again, I would be remiss if I did not mention Sergeant Major Corey Gill, our 6th CWAB back in the back, family, friends, and my frat brothers, the men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and distinguished members of the AG Corps. Also, our current basic class, the 9 members of the basic class. Behold, how good and how pleasant for brothers to dwell together in unity, especially during this time of COVID virus. As I resign my duties as the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the Corps, I have had the opportunity to reflect on the last 2 years, as well as my 33 years on active duty. I started here at Fort Jackson in September of 1986. Some of you weren't even born, as a private E1. I would not have imagined that my journey would bring me here. In fact, if you really knew me in Memphis, you would have imagined that my journey would have taken me somewhere else. So I'm going to use my 60 minutes to simply say thank you. To simply say thank you to a few individuals that supported me and assisted me during my tenure as the CWAP. To the AG Bob, thank you for your confidence and your vote in selecting me as the 7th Chief Warrant Officer of the branch. Hopefully I've shown each of you that you made the right decision and I've helped to advance our Corps. To the SSI and the Adjutant General School leadership and staff, to the SSI command team and staff, thank you for your support and guidance. You provided the tools for us to get after all of our concerns. I want to say a special thank you to the budget team up there. For those of you who know me, the entire two years I've been here, I have had issues with DTS. I've owed the government about $3,000 or $4,000, and I don't even know why. But the ladies up there in the budget team have fixed that thing for me. And so, sir, when I leave here next week, I owe the government
Zero balance.
So, to the boss and Sergeant Major, again to include Sergeant Major Gill, thank you for allowing me to be a part of the Adjutant General School team. For almost 2 years, I've seen the commandant fight tooth and nail for the Corps. Sometimes he won, sometimes he didn't. But sir, personally, I thank you for not giving up, even though we're on tape, right? Thank you for not giving up, sir. To the deputy coming up, Mr. Ward's here. Ward. To the commandant and the rest of the divisions within the school, to include the Booz Allen team, the DOT especially, it's been a pleasure laboring with you and you guys helping me to get after warrant officer issues and concerns. Sometimes I felt like I was on an island all by myself fighting for our warrants, but I would come into your office and vent and say, hey, I need the support and help, and you're always there. So again, thank you so much. TDD. The school and TDD are like yin and yang. or really more like step cousins. However, we seem to always figure out functionally how to train the load. I want to say a special thank you to a few people up in TDD, LZ Harrison, Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Boone, Mr. Meekins, as well as the entire IMI team who's doing the video right now. No matter how difficult the problem was, you made it look easy. Now to the warrants. It truly amazes me how talented and technical you are. When I first entered the Army, we had a 4-man carry called a tax box. Now, most of you have probably never heard of that thing, but it was the IPSA of our day. Probably my day only. Mine and Jill's day. So we had this tax box, and it had cards. It had punch cards. And so in order to do one transaction, it would take you 50, 60 cards, and you would put these cards in this huge mainframe. It would go ka-chunka, 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 and it would go in there. And if something was wrong, it would spit out all the cards. You have to go back and cross, dot the one. Scratch through the ones and line through T's and O's and all of that stuff. And we used to have carbon copy paper. In fact, when I first came in, we just started having laptop computers. Just started in '86. Just started having laptop computers. It's amazing. We were also assigned to a PSB where there was a senior warrant every day with us to guide us and help us to get better. The warrant officer today, you guys have it much more difficult. Today you have a 3-in-1 HR system called IPSA, data mining, data matrix, and sometimes you feel like you're alone on in your BCT and or brigade because your senior warrant is so far from you. The technical competence and the passion that you display in taking care of your unit and soldiers is praiseworthy. Unfortunately, I will not be able to list by name all the warrants that have supported and or assisted me, but I would like to mention a few groups of warrants that were extremely helpful. The warrants within the Pentagon, the Army Warrant Officer Council, our CASCOM CCWO, John Yerby, all the warrants within the ASCC at FORCECOM and in the 3 corps, which Mark came from. The senior warrants at each of the division G1s, and most importantly, the junior warrants that are at the BCTs. You guys truly are the foundation of what we do. In public, I would also like to sincerely thank the current and previous Army National Guard liaisons, to include my battle buddy back there, Jill. Jill, I could not have had any success in this job, in this tenure, without you. I thank you so very much. You and your husband, RC, as I mentioned earlier at my ceremony, they fed me. Normally would eat Captain Crunch, but they would bring over food for me. And so, Jill, thank you for all your guidance and your counsel. Also, to the instructors and the writer developers, you guys, I know I push you hard. We would go into our little room and we would fight. Literally, we would fight, trying to figure out how we were going to drive the change that the boss wanted in order to move the Corps forward. And we would go in there, and it was generally the last man standing, and which was always me. But what I truly appreciate is the passion that each of them had in making the change to drive the change for our Corps, our Warrant Corps, and help it advance. So, just want to say a few names, and then, sir, I'm done. Jill Graham, Troy Skaggs, Karen Torres, Charmaine Hilliard, Diane Ramirez, Andrea Ebanks Joyner, Jason Tobias, Daniel Raymond, Anthony Munoz, Danny Blyfield, Christy Brogan, Erica Burton, Charles Rodriguez, Alice Pitney, Robert Muddy, Ashanti Stewart, Sean Whitaker, Stephanie Weber. And if I miss any of the ones that were here, charge it to my heart and not my head, or I think it's the other way around. Lastly, or second to last, to the men of my beloved fraternity, I watch the impact that you make and the service that we provide to individuals and families that we've never even met, really. Thank you for what you do and root to the good brothers. I would also like to thank my friends and family who could not be here in attendance. My wife of 32 years, who's in Fayetteville with our 7 grandkids. Thank you for your love and support over all these years. I would like to thank our 4 grown kids for having jobs that allow them to support themselves and stay out of my pocket, and allowing us to have the 7 grandkids which we get and we spoil them and we take them back. So again, that's really it. This is going to be bittersweet. I was talking with the boss yesterday. I was working yesterday. He came in the office like, Chief, what are you doing? I said, sir, I got this one more thing I got to do. And if you knew the passion that I have for our Corps, and how I just wish we all could just be better and do better. This is why I'm here. Senior 5 Jacque Nixon, 7 Chief Warrant Officer of the branch, out, everyone all the way to finish, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 8th Chief Warrant Officer of the Adjutant General's Corps, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Mark Hickman.
Well, since Jacque didn't use all of his 60 minutes, take some of that. Colonel Layton, Sergeant Major Escobedo, Colonel McTighe, Sergeant Major Atkinson, Mr. Ward, CW5 retired Betancourt, and Ms. Graham, family, friends, distinguished members of the AG Corps. It's truly an honor to stand before you today as the 8th Chief Warrant Officer of the AG Corps. Having been a member of the AG Corps for over 28 years, I've been a witness to the agility, versatility, and amazing passion of generations of professionals dedicated to the Army, its soldiers, and their family members. Colonel McTighe and Sergeant Major Atkinson, it is an absolute privilege to have the opportunity to serve alongside each of you. You both display a great passion and love for the AG Corps and its soldiers, and I'm excited to join you as part of the AG School leadership team. Some of you may not know, but Sergeant Major Atkinson and I go back a little way, about 95-ish. Right, we got to serve, and he got to see how not to be, and he's out where he is now today. But I owe a great debt of gratitude for their support, mentorship, and friendships over the years, and I'd personally like to thank a few of those folks. First, to the AG Board of Directors, thank you for your trust and confidence in my abilities to serve in this position. I don't take the confidence lightly, and I look forward to working with the board to continue to shape the future of the AG Corps. Throughout my career, I've been shaped and impacted by many warrant officers, from the newest W01s to the most senior W5s. I just want to name a few. CW5 Jerry Dillard, he was the first to recognize my potential for warrant officer service in 2004. And honestly, he's been a sounding board and a mentor ever since to this day. Also, another little unknown fact, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only warrant officer who's been assigned, even for a brief period, to the SSI during the tenures of the 7 previous CWABs. I don't know what that means, but I've taken a little something from each of them, and I truly want to strive to build upon the legacies that's left. A special mention to a few, number 4, CW5 Hager. Some history there. He also impacted me early in my career as he taught me about the redeeming qualities of the UCMJ, to which he imposed on a young specialist Hickman, who, while good at his job, wasn't so great about getting to work on time. Also, the number 6, CW5 Betancourt. As his proponent, Dave repeatedly pressed upon me about the enormous responsibilities the senior warrant officers have to shape the future of the warrant officer cohort and the AG Corps. And I'm incredibly grateful for the mentorship that you provided. You often spoke about the weight of responsibility, and somewhere between walking down the stairs and switching the seats up here, I felt, I was a little nervous at that point, but we will continue to try to go forward. Number 7, CW5 Nixon. Jacque really does thrive on getting those hard jobs done. As our most senior 420 Alpha in grade, not age, all right. He answered the call to leverage his experience at the operational and strategic levels to garner amazing results for us as warrant officers. Jacque, having had just a glimpse in the wide breadth of programs and initiatives you've advanced over the last few years, as well as continued interaction with every AG warrant officer, it's clear the legacy that you're leaving not only continues that of your predecessors, but continues to raise the bar. Truly, thank you for all you've done for AG warrant officers. As number 8, I've never been more proud to be an AG soldier and a warrant officer. While I've experienced senior leader statements over the past year about warrant officers regaining their expertise, I'd argue that the AG warrant officer is stronger than ever. Never before has so much been asked of the AG warrant, and we've delivered. Over the last 10 years, while AG officer and enlisted requirements have dropped by 14% and 18% respectively, AG warrant officer requirements have increased by 20%. As a proponent, I saw firsthand that AG warrant officer was the most oft-requested solution to HR gaps. It is no coincidence that our 420 Alpha sits outside the offices of the Secretary of the Army, the CSA, and the Vice. In respect to our bandmasters, watching senior commanders fight for their bands during a recent restructuring clearly shows our Army musicians are delivering a much desired capacity and service to our soldiers and families. We've delivered because senior warrant officers carefully develop and screen NCOs for a requisite balance of experience potential. We've delivered because of the incredibly intelligent and dedicated instructors and developers at the AG School and the Army School of Music. And I can't say that enough. The instructors, you are the backbone of where our AG warrant officers grow into. We've delivered because we care about taking care of our commander, our units, and our soldiers and families. And we deliver because we take great pride in that if we don't know something, we just plain figure it out. And the awesome thing is we don't have to figure it out on our own, because the breadth of our field makes it impossible to have great depth on everything. And because of that, and more than anything, we've delivered because of our professional network. There is nothing more powerful than a group of mutually supporting AG warrant officers. As your representative, I will continue to do everything I can to further enable your ability to deliver, and to most importantly, to ensure we own our expertise. Last, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the biggest rock in our rucksack. IPSA is here for the National Guard and is quickly advancing on the horizon for the rest of the total Army. As my Corps CG once quipped when tasking engineers in support of the defense, we need every blade in the dirt. Again, it is a great privilege and honor to be your voice and your representative. It is a responsibility I again do not take lightly. I ask for your continued feedback, your mentorship, thoughts, and supports as we continue to own our expertise as individuals, influencers, leaders, professionals, and experts. Thank you, Defendant Sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the Army song. March along, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony.